Did you know that the man who wrote the preamble to the United States Constitution died because he stuck a whalebone in his dick? Well, in today's quick history episode, I'm going to explain the strange life of one of America's strangest founding fathers, Gouverneur Morris. Also, before I dive into the history, if you guys are not interested in the biography of Morris and you just want to hear about the crazier parts of his life, I left a timestamp in the description, but I hope you want to hear his biography because it actually is very interesting. Gouverneur Morris was born in 1752 to a wealthy aristocratic family in what is today New York City. But let's be real, none of you really care about that or his childhood, so I'm just going to skip to the Revolutionary War. Morris was slightly late to joining the Continental Congress as he was not appointed until 1778. Before his appointment, Morris studied law and served in New York's Provisional Congress in 1775. Also, oddly, Morris came from a loyalist family. During the Battle of Long Island, Morris's mother allowed the British to use their family estate for military use. Despite his family's British loyalty, Morris eventually became part of the committee which coordinated military reforms for General Washington. Morris saw Valley Forge firsthand and was appalled of the conditions. Eventually, Morris became the spokesman for the Continental Army and was paramount to increasing the finances of the army. Eventually, Morris went on to become the youngest signer of the Articles of Confederation. I love the Articles of Confederation. It's an unpopular opinion of mine. Anyway, I would argue Morris's greatest feat, other than whale, bone, and dick, of course, because that is clearly his greatest feat, came when he cast the deciding vote to keep General Washington as commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, when the Conway Cabal was at its peak. What is the Conway Cabal, you're asking? Well, I'm going to explain it now. During late 1777 and early 1778, a group of Continental Army officers led by General Thomas Conway attempted to get George Washington removed as commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. This frustration came from Philadelphia being captured and Congress having to be moved from Philly to York, Pennsylvania. Moreover, Washington was accruing major losses such as the Battle of Brandywine and the Battle of Germantown, while Horatio Gates was winning major battles, specifically in Saratoga. Many officers believed that Gates was the superior general and therefore deserved command. However, historians today debate whether the Saratoga campaign should be attributed to Gates, as Benedict Arnold can be said as the real hero of the battle. I'm not here to dive into this rabbit hole, but the traitor Benedict Arnold did have some legit reasons to be pissed. Anyway, General Conway wanted to be promoted to Major General, as it would mean he could become a brigadier general for the French military after the war. But Washington believed that there were better American-born men who could fit the same criteria as Conway. So yes, you got that right, ladies and gentlemen. The Washington Monument almost did not exist because General Conway was pissed off about not getting a promotion. Conway's suggestions eventually made it to the Continental Congress, where our boy, Gouverneur Morris, stopped the vote of no confidence. What a G. Thank you, Washington, and thank you, Morris. After the war, Morris was appointed the Superintendent of Finance of the United States. Wait, I read that wrong. He was the Assistant Superintendent of Finance of the United States, which just sounds like a Dwight Schrute job from The Office. This is where he served under Robert Morris. In the Continental Congress, Morris advocated for a strong central government, which made him unpopular with his native New Yorkers, but he eventually became a Pennsylvania delegate. He was a strong ally to George Washington as well. In 1787, Morris served on a committee that wrote the United States Constitution, and he is even credited for writing the Preamble of the Constitution. Morris is now known as the penman of the Constitution. Before I get to his death, I would be a bad historian if I didn't mention some of the crazy shit that happened over Morris's life. For example, did you know that a 57-year-old Morris married his housekeeper, who at the time was accused of killing her infant child? In his housekeeper's defense, the child was apparently illegitimate, and she had him with a relative of hers, so inbred, yuck. But at the same time, she killed a innocent child. What a ruthless bitch. But Morris was banging her, so make of it what you will. How about this? Did you know that Gouverneur Morris had a peg leg? Yeah, this one's true too. In 1780, after a carriage accident, Morse was left with several broken bones and a mangled ankle. In modern times, you would just get a cast, but there was no doctor nearby, and it was recommended that Morse get his leg amputated. Upon his return home, Morse's doctor was horrified because he believed the leg could clearly have been saved. One fun thing that did come out of his amputee story, though, is a rumor swirling around that Morse lost his leg from jumping off the balcony to avoid a woman's husband that he just slept with. Morse was such a ladies' man that he continued to sleep with men's wives, even with a peg leg. Just think about how smooth this guy has to be. I can barely get a woman in as it is right now. This is why I make YouTube videos in my room alone. Thumbs up. This was such an issue that John Jay even wrote that he wished that Morris lost something else that day. Well, John, you'd eventually get what you want. My last Morse story comes during the War of 1812. So long story short, there's a lot of stuff that happened before the war, blah, 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 blah. I might make a video of it someday. Who cares? So, Morse thought the War of 1812 was unwinnable, believing it was a plot by the southern states to invade Canada. So instead of trying to debunk this conspiracy theory, Morse did what any rational man would do, and he advocated for New York and New England to succeed and establish their own state, separate from the dirty southern states who wanted to claim Canada. Boo, southern states. Yep, you heard me right. The man who wrote the Preamble of the United States Constitution also advocated for a civil war as early as 1812. Okay, so now for the story of how he died. I know that this is what you've all been waiting for, so here it is. In 1816, Morse was experiencing blockage in his urinary tract, which you can only imagine what that would be like. This made it difficult for him to pee. Considering he was 64, I don't know if he could still do other stuff with his urinary tract. Adults, you'll know what I'm talking about, but if you're under 14, you definitely won't know. But considering Viagra and Roman haven't been invented yet, I'm going to go with no. So what does he do? Our brave founding father, how does he get his urinary tract back in working order? Well, he grabs a whalebone and sticks it up his dick hole, trying to clear it out himself. And this was a major success in killing him. Obviously, this was not going to work, and it made things much, much worse. Eventually, Morse died of this infection, and his legacy lives on today with the Preamble of the U.S. Constitution and 4 names of towns named after him. Honestly, I love this guy. He's hilarious. What a ladies' man. And I am for a statue of him in the U.S. Capitol right now. I want it bigger than Washington Monument because everyone knows that his urinary tract was packing, if you know what I mean. Rest in peace, King. I'll see you in heaven. Thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe. I'm on break right now, so I'm trying to get as many videos in before finals, but after finals, I'll be able to upload videos the whole summer. I know I suck at uploading, sorry, but thank you for everyone who subscribed. It's actually crazy to me that I have as many subscribers as it is. Even though 61 doesn't sound very big, I'm basically speaking to a group of students right now, and I love to teach. Thank you, and Godspeed.